And we really are on a spectrum here from fear to love. I mean, that is the spectrum that we're traveling on, because, you know, that psychological safety is very much connected with this people feeling free to be themselves and really leaning into expressing their true whole self. I love the quote here, Jenny, that we had in the High Performance Insight report. It's you're at Westham, you're supporting understanding the what it takes to win well mentality. I love the win well. Knowing and creating thriving, happy environment that's underpinned by care. And this can create magic. And I love that actually it's the magic that we can create through this winning well and this real thriving environments underpinned by care. And Elena, I know we talked to her, what do you think are the elements of leading with love? What does it show up like? What does it look like if we had to really celebrate? This is the practice that we need to lean into. This is like leadership. It's a learnable way of being that we can all move toward and practice and get it wrong sometimes, but definitely learn from as we go through.
For me, it has been a journey of learning for sure. And the first thing is about vulnerability. When I started leading people, I was very, very young. And I felt that I need to build a barrier, a shield between the people and myself, because I was thinking in some moment you will need to take tough decisions. So it's better to not have very close relationship. But I start building a wall, and that protects me, but also holding me back for real relationship and openness and etc. So when I start to realize everything that I'm losing versus what I can win, even with risk, I start to open up. So for me, the first thing is vulnerability. You need to show yourself fully there. And you need to be honest with the people. Come on, things. We know when people is not showing their true self, you know. We know. So why I don't think the people that we are taking care of, they don't know. They know also when we are blah, 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 and saying good words and not really mean it. So when I start realizing that honesty, vulnerability, and are the two main things, and the rest will follow, but you need to start with that point. And when I love the things that you said at the beginning, Jen, regarding really see and really listen. So when you open up really and you show yourself, you in fact are inviting them and the rest to do the same, and you are open to listen and to see people. And there is, I love the sentence. There is where the magic appears. I think a part of the fear is the result. People fear about the short-term result. What we are missing in this equation is if you bet on people and the magic happen, your result will come. So don't focus on the result, focus on the people. But it's a game of trust. You know, you need to trust on the process. And a lot of people has a lot of fear regarding that because, gosh, this quarterly result is not doing good, so we need to intervene or whatever. And that is when the magic disappears.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because actually one of the barriers that stops us here as well is that fear within ourselves. So actually as a leader, one of the first things you need to notice is what's the self-dialogue you're having, that you might have the intent, but these fears, you know, and where's the story come from, you know, and actually start leaning into those honest conversations with yourself around what you're thinking and feeling, and having the space to be like to share that with others and being vulnerable, that I'm worried about this is what's holding me back. And I am too. And then more and more people will be in the same place, you know. And it's really interesting because Adam, when we talked, you talked about that vulnerability as well, and some of the leaders you worked with, but also I also really love that idea of the personal connection stories, how important that the leadership language that we use to connect with others is crucial for this care coming through, this love coming through.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think it's really interesting, Elena, what you were saying there is a lot of the worst kind of techniques, if you even wanted to call that I've come across where when talking to people leaders, have all been around trying to build up barriers so they don't feel. But the scary truth is that they do. And Jen, to your point of talking to coaches who feel suicidal, like they can really damage themselves by not getting as involved as naturally they potentially want to. And I think that's again one of the things that when talking to leaders about vulnerability and being open, there's still a lot of fear about, yeah, but won't that mean that I might start feeling for the people that I interact with, and won't that be difficult? You're going to feel either way, but at least this way it's genuine, and you will find that you bring more people along on the journey. A lot of my work in the past has been about trying to engage with people and get them in a state where they feel they can be open and honest and vulnerable with me, either one-on-one coaching or with a group of people that I want to share ideas. And Sarah, to your point, I found, annoyingly recently, I'm going to say, I found that actually starting anything that I'm talking about with my own vulnerable background in it, and it doesn't have to be an X Factor style vulnerable story, but say if I'm talking about careers, giving a 5-minute story about how I thought careers was something that happened to you, and that I was going to get picked up by a CEO one day and say, you're now director of good times at the Fun Factory. And when that didn't happen, I became really despondent and wish I had had a chance to talk about my career in a group like this. That instantly gives people, and you, as you say, with the magic happening, it gives people it allows them to be more vulnerable because they've seen somebody else do it first.